Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.3. Shri Antariksha Uvacha Abhir Bhutani Bhutatma Maha Bhutar Mahabhuja. The original person. Swa, of his own parts and parcels. Matra, the sense gratification. Atma, and the self-realization. Prasiddhaye, for facilitating. 2 microphones you have to manage. How's that? Sri Antariksha said, O mighty armed king, by activating the material elements, the primeval soul of all creation has sent forth all living beings in higher and lower species, so that these conditioned souls can cultivate either sense gratification or ultimate liberation according to their desire.
Purport. Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Let him catch up with you first.
His disciples.
Hold on, let him catch up with you first.
Haribol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the illusory energy, Maya, is explained in this verse through a description of her potencies, namely the modes of material nature. In Bhagavad-gita, Lord Krishna has described Maya as Gunamayi, consisting of the material modes of nature. The material modes of nature are alluded to in this verse by the word Ucha Vachani, high and low species of life. Various species of life become manifest, as do varieties of beauty, ugliness, strength, weakness, and other characteristics within a particular species, according to the proportionate development of the modes of nature. As confirmed in the Bhagavad-gita, chapter 13, text 22, Karanam gunasangosya sad asadyo nijanmasu. This is due to the living being's association with material nature in good and evil species. Similarly, we find the statement, Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasa jaganya gunavritti sta adho gachanti tamasa. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Bhagavad-gita 4.18. The 3 general divisions of material life are called Deva, Tiryak, and Nara. That is, demigods, subhuman creatures, and human beings. In the various species of life, there are various facilities for material sense gratification. Different species are distinguished by differently formed senses, such as the genitals, nostrils, tongue, eyes, ears, and eyes. Pigeons, for example, are given the facility for almost unlimited sex, Bears have an ample opportunity for sleeping. Tigers and lions exhibit the propensities for fighting and meat eating. Horses are distinguished by their legs for swift running. Vultures and eagles have keen eyesight, and so on. The human being is distinguished by his large brain, which is meant for understanding God.
Okay, we can pause. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Pandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Antariksha Uvacha Ebhir Bhutani Bhutatma Mahabhutar Mahabhuja Sasarjoch Vacha Sasarvoch Chavachan Yadya Swamatratma Prasiddhaye. So this verse is supposed to, we hear, describe the three modes of nature. So how is that? We don't see any mention of the three modes of nature. But Sarvocha Vachanyadya, we hear that there are higher and lower species of life. Why is that? Karanam guna sangasya, sadasadyoni janmashu. Urdvam gachanti sattvastha, madhye tishtanti rajasa, chaganya gunavrittistha, adho gachanti tamasa. According to the modes of material nature, some living beings go to the higher planets, some stay in the middle, and some are condemned to the of ignorance. So, yes. Karanam guna sangasya. The living being wants to enjoy this material world, and so he becomes associated with this material world. Otherwise, asango hyayam purusha. The living being has nothing to do with this material world. He's spirit, and therefore he should have no connection with matter. But because he developed purusha sarvadukana, abhoktritve, what comes? heturuchite. The living entity wants to enjoy this material nature, and so he becomes the cause of his own happiness and distress, sadasad yoni janmashu, in higher and lower positions. The whole thing is an illusion because he thinks he can enjoy, but the enjoyment becomes the very cause of his suffering in lifetime after lifetime. And therefore the Buddhists and the impersonalists agree, and we also agree, that one should get free from material desires. Of course, the Buddhists and the Mayavadis think that any desire is material desire. And the devotees have a higher conception that real desire is desire to serve Krishna. Desire will not be extinguished, but it deserves to be connected to Krishna, or it deserves to be in relationship with Krishna. It's meant to be in relationship with Krishna, the desire to serve Krishna. And now it's perverted into something else, the desire to serve our senses. And therefore, one is placed in different species to try to satisfy one's desires, which of course will never be satisfied. All right, read more.
The phrase sva-matratma prasiddhaye is very significant in this verse. The word sva indicates possession. All living beings belong to the Supreme Lord. Mame vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Bhagavad-gita 15.7. Therefore, according to this verse, they have two options, matra prasiddhaye and atma prasiddhaye. Matra refers to the material senses, and prasiddhaye refers to effective accomplishment. Therefore, matra prasiddhaye means efficiently engaging in sense gratification. On the other hand, atma prasiddhaye refers to Krishna consciousness. There are two categories of atma. The Jivatma, or the ordinary living entity who is dependent, and the Paramatma, the supreme living entity who is independent. Some living entities desire to understand both categories of Atma, and in this verse, the word Atma Prasiddhaye indicates that the material world is created to give those living entities the opportunity to achieve such an understanding and thus return to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal and full of bliss and knowledge. Srila Sridhar Swami confirms this by quoting a verse from the Veda Stuti of Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.2. Buddhindriya mana pranan jananam asrajat prabhu matrartham cha bhavartam cha atmane kalpanaya cha. The Lord created the intelligence, senses, mind, and vital air of the living beings for sense gratification, for performing sacrifices to attain higher births, and ultimately for offering sacrifices to the Supreme Soul. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the actual purpose of the Lord's creation is only one, to facilitate the advancement of devotional service to the Lord Himself. Although it is stated that the Lord facilitates sense gratification, it should be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not ultimately condone the foolishness of the conditioned souls. The Lord facilitates sense gratification, matra prasiddhaye, so that the living entities will gradually understand the futility of trying to enjoy without Him. Every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. In the Vedic literature, the Lord gives a regulative program so that the living beings can gradually exhaust their tendencies to be foolish and learn the value of surrender unto Him. The Lord is undoubtedly the reservoir of all beauty, bliss, and satisfaction, and it is the duty of every living entity to engage in the loving service of the Lord. Although there are apparently two purposes for creation, it should be understood that ultimately the purpose is one. The arrangement for sense gratification is ultimately meant to bring the living entities to the single purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary.
That's all right. So, two things. Matra prasiddhaye and Atma prasiddhaye. Either these bodies can be used either for sense gratification or for liberation or self-realization. Both things are made possible by this material body. So the choice is there. Those who are determined to enjoy the senses, to try to enjoy the senses, that they'll take that path. And those who want to attain spiritual realization will take that path. Manusyanam sahasresha. Kaschid yadadi siddhaya. Out of thousands, some may be interested in spiritual realization. Kaschid, not all. Not all. Some are interested in spiritual realization. Most are interested in sense gratification. So both things are made possible, but Srila Jiva Goswami offers that actually the goal is spiritual realization. Even those who are pursuing sense enjoyment are meant for spiritual realization. And if they follow the Vedic directions, then gradually they'll make progress. If they don't follow the Vedic directions, if they just do everything whimsically according to their own ideas, then nasa siddhim avapnoti, na sukham, na param gatim. They won't attain perfection. They won't even be happy, and they won't go back to Godhead. Nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. Tasmad shastra pramante karya karya vivastito. Shastra gatva vidhanoktam karma kartum iharisi. Therefore one should know what is to be done and what is not to be done by the direction of Shastra. Not by one's own mental speculation, not by vox populi, not by whatever's the majority opinion on the social media, but according to Shastra. Otherwise, one won't get the desired results. Tasmat Shastra. Therefore, Krishna has given Vedic literature. If we follow it, even in Karma Kanda, then gradually we'll be promoted, Jnana Kanda. Then gradually we'll be promoted, Vipassana Kanda. And finally to the point of Bhakti Yoga, where Sarva-dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. There's a gradual, slow progress. The path of Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda are very slow, and therefore they're not recommended. Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Kevala Vishera Bandha. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has compared the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda paths to pots of to pots of poison. They're pots of poison because they're distracting us from the real goal of life. But those who are below even karma kanda, for them karma kanda is a step up. At least they'll be karmis instead of vikarmis. But we don't recommend to them, yes, take the path of karma kanda, slow sense gratification, then work your way through all the ins and outs of mental speculation so that thousands of births from now you can surrender to Krishna. Where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is recommending, directly take Krishna consciousness. This is the easy method. Chaito Darpana Marjan. Don't wait to work out all of your desires and all of your this and all of your that. Just purify your heart by the holy name of Krishna. Nama bina kichu nahiko archo dabhuvana maje. In all the three worlds, there's nothing but this chanting of Hare Krishna as the best path for spiritual realization. Such a good fortune. If we, without the benefit of the holy name, all we can do is gradually, dhire, work our way up through these slower and lower methods, or else go down by neglecting even that. But by the holy name of Krishna, one can be promoted. Mukta Sangha Parambrajait. Kirtana Deva Krishnasya. Mukta Sangha Parambrajait. By chanting of the holy name of Krishna, one can get freed from Sangha. Sangha means association with these three modes of nature. And when one is freed from the modes of material nature, then one can understand two Atmas, the Jivatma, the Paramatma. The Mayavadis confuse the two, confound the two. They think that the Atma and the Paramatma are the same, which they are, but they think the same in all respects, which is a mistake. If we're the same in all respects as the Paramatma, why should we be suffering like dogs in the material world? They say no, the Atma merges with the Paramatma at perfection, and they become one. There's a very nice, and they quote the Upanishads, Katu Upanishad, where it says, pure water is poured into pure water, so the living entity becomes one with the Atma, Paramatma. To which the Acharyas have given a very good response, that if you take pure water and you pour it into pure water, what do you get? Yeah, but how much pure water? The same as you started with or more? More. How is that? If the Paramatma and the Jivatma are the same, and you merge them together, what should you have? Same. The volume should be the same, you know? You take one glass of this and another glass of that, you merge them together, you should have two glasses, not one glass. So we have these two. The pure water is poured into the pure water, but the volume increases. That means the two-ness continues. Otherwise the volume would have to be the same. If I'm realizing that all along I was the Paramatma, there shouldn't be an increase in volume. But there is. So that means the individual Suparnas Sayuja Sakaya. There are two birds in the tree of this body, not one. One is eating the fruit of the tree, the other is just watching. The living entity is the eating bird, and the Paramatma is the watching bird. Upadrashtanumantacha. Paramatmeti chapyukta. He's the superior. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bhavati. In the body, there's the kshetra, the field, the body, and kshetrajya, the knower of the body. And we're all individual knowers of the body. Therefore, I know my body. I have no idea about your body. How you're feeling today, how your digestion is going on, whether you have back troubles or this or that. I have no idea, because I'm not you. And you have no idea what I'm going through, because you're not me. If you taste a wonderful kheer preparation offered to SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple, you feel tremendous pleasure. I have no idea. Not that you taste it and I get the taste. Because you're the knower of your field, I'm the knower of my field. But kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu. Krishna says, I'm also the kshetragya. Oh, okay, so you're one of us. I'm a kshetragya, you're a kshetragya. Point, that was the point to be decided. I'm you and you're me. No, sarvakshetreshu. I know all the bodies. You know your one little body. I know all the bodies in all 8,400,000 species on all the 3 planetary systems or in all the universes. And you know your one body. So you're a kshetragya, I'm a kshetragya. But Krishna is the super kshetragya. He knows all the bodies. And therefore to equate the individual soul with the Supreme Soul is foolishness, or a categorical error, because it sees the oneness in qualities, but it fails to recognize the difference in power and strength and quantity between the individual being and the Supreme living being. So all of these things we're meant to realize gradually, or quickly. So why take the slow way? Especially in Kali Yuga, slow means exceedingly slow. Manda. In Kali Yuga, everyone is manda, slow. And sumanda matayo, easily misled. And therefore, manda bhagya, unfortunate. And upadrutaha, always agitated. And always inventing new means to become more agitated. Their minds are already agitated by thoughts of sense gratification and frustration in sense gratification, sometimes getting, sometimes not getting, always wanting more. And inventing new ways. Oh, we could enjoy more this way, we could enjoy more that way. And therefore agitating their own minds. Their minds are already agitated by sex desire, and then they go watch a movie to agitate their minds more with sex desire. What will be the benefit? Upadruta, already upadruta, and then more upadruta. Therefore, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Don't agitate the mind more for sense gratification. Prashantam manasam yenam. Sukhamuttamam. Shanta Rajasam Brahmabhutam Akalmasham. 5th chapter. Okay. Prashantam Manasam Yena. Chapter 627, Prashanta Manasam Yenam, Yoginam Sukhamuttamam, Upaiti Shanta Rajasam, Brahmabhutam, Akolmasham. Yunja Nevam Sadatmanam Yogi Vigata Kalmasha, Sukhena Brahma Samsparsham, Atyantam Sukhamashnute. So this is Prashanta Manasam, Prashanta Nishesha Manoratantra, to have a peaceful mind, exceedingly peaceful mind. Either take up some yoga practice to try to calm the mind, or directly chant Hare Krishna so that the mind will become peaceful. Prashanta Manasam Yoginam, the yogis can do this. And then they can achieve Sukhamuttamam, superior happiness, transcendental happiness. And Upaiti Shanta Rajasam, Brahmabhutam Akalmasham. They'll transcend the modes of material nature, Brahmabhuyaya Kopate, and come to the spiritual platform. Always engaged in this way, Yunjanevam Sadatmanam. Yogi Vigata Kalmasha, one becomes freed from sinful activities and sinful reactions. And Brahma Samsparsha, one comes in touch with the absolute truth, Brahma, Krishna. The materialist, Yehi Samsparsha Ja, Bhoga. He also has Samsparsha, but is Bhoga Samsparsha. Yehi Samsparsha Ja Bhoga. He gets some happiness from his sense gratification. But dukkha yoni evate, that's actually the source of his misery. Adyanta vanta kontiya nateshu ramatebhya. It has a beginning and end. Therefore no intelligent person actually goes after that. But the intelligent person, the yogi, sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute, he attains unlimited happiness. Attains unlimited happiness. So this is Krishna consciousness. Attain unlimited happiness by samsparsha, Brahma samsparsha, coming in touch with the absolute truth, Krishna, the greatest person. Now I'm in touch with low-grade persons, materialists, gyanis, karmis, yogis. But by coming in touch with pure devotees of Krishna, one can attain Brahma samsparsha. Coming in touch with a pure devotee of Krishna is as good as coming in touch with Krishna. One contacts a pure devotee and becomes Krishna conscious. So this should be our business, to associate with devotees, chant Hare Krishna, and come in direct, full touch with the personality of Godhead by devotional service. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, criticisms, objections, thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, I just want to share my thoughts. You have said this Krishna conscious process is fast. Krishna conscious process is fast.
Krishna consciousness is
Yeah.
best.
So, like for your generation, you have struggled for every moment. For now, like for our generation, all the facilities are available. Everywhere we can go, we found the ISKCON temple.
The struggle is the same. My generation, your generation, 100 generations from now, the struggle is not because we have facility or don't have facility. We have our minds. That's the problem. There's no friends or enemies, facility or no facility. The problem is the mind. I've got one and you've got one. Doesn't matter which generation, everyone gets a mind. So the mind is the problem. The bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmayavatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmanava shatruva. If we engage our minds in Krishna consciousness, the mind becomes the best friend. Otherwise, number one enemy. We have no facility, we have to struggle. Then we get too much facility, then we have to struggle with that. That's another problem. Everything is problem or everything is opportunity. If we think of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything's an opportunity. If we forget it, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything's a problem. Something else? Give microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the wonderful class. But I'm just inquiring about this concept the example you gave about the glass of water mixing with another glass and becoming bigger volume of water.
About the glasses of water, yes.
Mixed with the second glass and the volume increases.
Yes.
Right? But the other people may say, the materialists may say, or some impersonal may say, that this is a material example.
Materialists may say what?
It's a material concept, because like how as we say, Om Purnamad Purnamadam Purnam Purnat Mujjate.
Okay, material mixing of water is a material concept.
Yeah, just as God, when He divides Himself into many, He doesn't get... He's still
God
one.
divides himself into many.
And He's still one. So same way when the other Atmas get like mixed up with Paramatma, He will still be the same volume.
Mix all the Atmas into the Paramatma, they'll all be the same.
That's how the impersonalists would argue with us. Suppose we were to give...
They would argue like that, so then they have to give their proof. In the Upanishads it said, Nityo Nityanam. That's not the material concept, because material means anitya. Material means anitya. If it's anitya, it's material. If it's nitya, it has to be spiritual, right? Nothing can be nitya without being spiritual. And the Upanishads say, Nitya Nityanam. Among all the nityas, plural number, there's one individual supreme nitya. That's not a material judgment. That's on the spiritual platform. Chaitanya is spiritual. Chaitanya is Chaitananam. Among all the Chaitanyas, there's one supreme Chaitanya. Oh, you're you're adding something. It just says one among many. It doesn't say supreme. Okay. Eko bahonam yo vididati kama. The one is maintaining the many. If you say the one is maintaining the many, then the one must exist, the many must exist, and a hierarchy exists. There's one who's maintaining the many. That's not a material example, that's Shruti Vak. That's what the Shrutis say. Don't blame me. Answer?
Yeah, but sometimes, okay, we may understand because we are, let's say, more Krishna conscious. Those who are more,
We may understand because we're devotees, we're more conscious.
yeah. So we are, let's say, biased. We are like more Krishna biased.
We're more Krishna pious, okay.
But the impersonalists who don't understand this concept,
The impersonalists who don't understand this concept,
so they may say, like, I'm not saying they may say, because I've come across this argument before. Because I've come across this argument before with some impersonalists,
you've come across this argument before,
that we conclude everything saying that Krishna is perfect, and so anything can be done by Krishna. Krishna can do everything.
they say Krishna is perfect, so Krishna could do anything.
So that's our only answer. It seems like
We say that.
We say that.
No, that's not our only answer. Our answer is the Upanishads. Why drag Krishna into this? First thing is, there's one eternal among the many eternals. That's not Krishna pious or Krishna bhakti yoga doctrine. That's the Upanishads. You're a Mayavadi, so you have to read the Upanishads, right? You're a Advaita Vedantist. You have to read the Upanishads. So this is in there. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Viditatikam. It's not, we haven't put a spin on it, it's there. Go read it. Go take out your, forget about us. Go home, pick up your Upanishads. Go to the Katu Upanishad, read Nityo Nityana, and scratch your head over it. Then come back and we'll talk. And while you're at it, read this other verse, Dwa Suparna Sayuja Sakaya, 2 birds in the tree.
Thank you.
But you're right, the problem is that they don't have the necessary piety. Prabhupada ascribed impersonalism to 2 causes. Lack of piety and an abundance of stubborn obstinacy. That's the problem. What is that in the Bhagavad-gita? Yes, thank you. Yesham twantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandvamoha nirmukta bhajante mam jridhavrita. It's not ISKCON, this is Bhagavad-gita. Yesham tu antagatam papam. When one has come to the end of sinful life, antagatam papam, and jananam punyakarmanam, and he's performed many pious activities, then te dvandva moha nirmukta. Then he becomes freed from dvandva, he becomes free from duality, from illusion, vimukta, te dvandva moha nirmukta, vimukta. He's freed from these things. And then what happens? When he's freed from duality, when he's freed from illusion, what does he do? Bhajante mam dridhavrita. He goes further and takes shelter of Krishna and performs Krishna bhajan. So you take it from Bhagavad-gita, you take it from the Upanishads. Don't take it from ISKCON, we're just a registered charity. But this is a registered Bhagavad-gita and registered Upanishad. These are our sources.
Thank
Doesn't
you.
depend on material examples. It has nothing to do with sectarian commitment, prior commitments. It's what the books say. Don't blame us. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right. Yes. By the way, my disciple Vasudev Das is working on an English edition of Kathopanishad with commentary drawn from previous acharyas, and it will be, I think, a good contribution as we have Ishopanishad. So then we'll also have Kathopanishad in a very scholarly edition. Somehow the idea is there that the Upanishads are the property of the Mayavadis, property of the Kevala Deities. So we want to reclaim this territory for Krishna. All right?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the enlightening class, Maharaj. Maharaj, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad-gita, Yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That after coming back to spiritual world, nobody comes back to the material world. But then we often hear that we have developed, the spirit soul developed an enjoying propensity.
First thing is that Yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. After attaining me, no one comes back. Then
we hear that the spirit soul developed enjoying propensity and
spirit soul develops enjoying propensity
and fell into the material world.
and falls to the material world. Yeah.
So then how we understand both this? If the spirit soul
How
is
do we understand both these things? In Srimad Bhagavatam, someplace it's said from pure consciousness, material consciousness develops. From pure consciousness, material consciousness develops. That statement is there someplace in Srimad Bhagavatam. The living entity is pure by nature, but he has tiny independence. When he misuses it, even he can fall down. Aruya Krishnena Parampadanti. He can neglect the lotus feet of Krishna and fall. Just like here in ISKCON, everybody's liberated. You don't have to work at some material job. You don't have to get involved in family life. You don't have to get involved in the anxieties of material existence. You're not involved in bad association. You're not involved in intoxicants, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling. You're all involved in chanting Hare Krishna, taking prasadam, singing and dancing. But everyone has independence. If you like, you can leave. We always have tiny independence, which means we can always misuse it. But no one will be able to figure out how exactly that happens. Too subtle. Sukshma tattva vigyayam durastam chantikechat. The Paramatma is described as sukshma, subtle, and therefore avigyaya, unknowable. And what to speak of the Paramatma, even though living it, the individual Atma is very subtle. What can we understand? How much can we understand? Here where Antariksha, the King Nimi, is asking about how Maya works. Even that's subtle. We'll study these chapters and try to understand how the material energy is working. And even that will be beyond our power to understand. So what will we understand about these questions? Main thing we can understand, Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, is that we're here. That's not subtle. We're getting kicked in the face by the material energy. Somehow one has to get out. In the beginning, this is a purport to Bhagavatam 3:26, 23, and 24. In the beginning, from clear consciousness, or the pure state of Krishna consciousness, the first contamination sprang up. This is called false ego, or identification of the body as self. The living entity exists The living entity exists in the natural state of Krishna consciousness, but he has marginal independence, and this allows him to forget Krishna. Originally, pure Krishna consciousness exists, but because of misuse of marginal independence, there's a chance of forgetting Krishna. This is exhibited in actual life. There are many instances in which someone acting in Krishna consciousness suddenly changes. In the Upanishads, it is therefore stated, this is also Katha Upanishad, that the path of spiritual realization is just like the sharp edge of a razor. The example is very appropriate. One shaves his cheeks with a sharp razor very nicely, but as soon as his attention is diverted from the activity, he immediately cuts his cheek because he mishandles the razor. Not only must one come to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness, but one must also be very careful. Any inattentiveness or carelessness may cause fall down. This fall down is due to false ego. From the status of pure consciousness, the false ego is born because of misuse of independence. We cannot argue about why false ego arises from pure consciousness. Factually, there's always the chance that this will happen. And therefore, one has to be very careful. All right, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Here we go.